Tell us, if you will, what things fall under the remit of being a Director of Rugby.
It's quite broad. As Director of Rugby, basically I'm responsible for managing a group of people and resources to win rugby matches. You're talking around about 70 people in total, which includes playing staff, coaching staff, conditioners, medical staff and administrators. And the resources, anything from the financial resources, the budget resources, the management of equipment, and get into and from locations.
And how much of your role, once it comes to approaching games and things, is perhaps to do with tactics, maybe about the training, and how much of it is also about maybe man management? Man
management is the biggest part of the job. Strategically, it's up to me to set the direction for the team in terms of what we're trying to achieve on the field, and then work with my coaches to actually produce that with the players. But in all of that, the biggest aspect of it is man management.
And what do you find are the greatest challenges you face in the role?
Well, it's quite an outward-facing job, this, in terms of the public, particularly in Gloucester. We have a fantastic fan base and they expect high standards, rightly so. So you have to deal with that, and PR and messaging is very important, and getting that right so that people can understand exactly what you're trying to achieve. But also that has an effect on the internal environment as well. So that can be a challenge, making sure that everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet, understands where we're going and has a clear idea of where we're going. But it's like with any role or function with people. People are all unique. They all need motivating differently, and sometimes it's about putting a hand around them and giving them a little bit of a hug. Other times it's maybe giving them a little bit of kick. So it's that role of how to get the best out of all the people around me, not just the rugby players, but the coaching and the rest of my staff.
Excellent. And what do you find are the best moments? What's a good day or a good week for a Director of Rugby?
It's really when you win. I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's a culmination of all the efforts that you put in through that period, including probably the pre-season and your strategy as well. And when it all comes together, there's nothing better. Another part of the job, which is quite pleasing, is to see players come through and develop and go on and become not only international rugby players, but senior professional rugby players. It's very rewarding to see players come through the system.
Now, we're examining the rugby family. Your own family boasts another upcoming rugby name in your son, Sam Davies, IRB Junior Player of the Year, carrying out a career with the Ospreys. So, what role have you played in maybe his career as perhaps a father? Was it sort of giving him lifts to training when he was a youngster, all that sort of stuff?
Obviously, from a very young age, he was playing with the ball, predominantly a football, believe it or not. But he had a challenge from the age of 2 to try and kick the ball over the house, and it took a few years, but he eventually got there.
Few broken windows on the way?
Yes, almost. But yeah, I think primarily it was just to support him and just to play with him and play games, and that way he developed his own unique style. And up until the age of 14, he played for Swansea City Academy in football. So I think that was quite a good grounding for him, and it maybe took a little bit of pressure off him as my son in that arena. But yeah, it's very much a supportive role, and we talk a little bit about rugby, but not too much. And I'd like to think a lot of the work that I did before he was maybe a teenager, and maybe it's coming through a little bit now.
Yes, one likes to think so. I mean, that's the thing with with the rugby family at large, is that for so many people, the club and the coaches play a role, but those initial sort of 10 to 15 years is all about the role the parents play.
It's vital, absolutely vital, and to expose young children to lots of different sports at a young age, I think, is key. And we see a lot of players at the top end of professional sport who've had that exposure.